the 28th annual New Orleans Heritage and Jazz Festival in the Crescent City from the State Fairgrounds in the Jazz Tent of WWOZ. I'm talking with Yoron Israel. It's good to see you again.
It's a pleasure to see you again, and especially in this atmosphere. It's beautiful. Yeah.
You might describe a little bit of the impact of New Orleans and this whole environment on your muse and mystique.
Well, I mean, New Orleans, this is actually my first time ever being here. However, I feel like it's not, because there's so much music, obviously, and so many musicians that have touched me so deeply from this city, or the influences from this city, and also the musicians from this influence is something that have touched me so deeply throughout my years of development, and even now. Particularly Vernel Fournier, who is a great friend of mine, and also was one of my teachers early on. And I feel like I've been here a million times just by being around him so much. So it's had a remarkable influence on me as a person and me as a musician.
And of course, Vernel was a part of the heart of the beat of the Ahmad Jamal Trio.
Yeah, and then I came. I was also a part of that group. So it's all just a big circle. Just a continuum.
You have a new project coming out called A Gift for You, and you have some very fine colleagues on the date. You might just describe a little bit about the project.
Yeah, it's a new record. It's A Gift for You. Actually, it's out now. It's in the stores, and it's a project featuring my quintet, which features Ed Cherry on guitar, and Lance Bryant plays tenor, Brian Carrot, John Lockwood. And as special guests on the date, I had Donald Harrison and Philip Harper, and also James Williams. All people who, my 8 years in New York that I've, met early on, actually, and we've been playing off and on all this time. So the record features like some original music of mine, as well as some arrangements of mine.
You might just touch on a couple of the arrangements and concepts that you developed.
Well, as I mentioned, the quintet features Vibes guitar. That in itself is an instrumentation that I've really grown kin to. So the writing, my writing and my arranging for this particular project really centered around that instrumentation in terms of the contrast between, the vibraphone and the guitar in particular, and also in terms of the other instruments. So I really tried to use the instruments to the fullest effect in the compositions. But some of the compositions that are featured are Joe Henderson's A Shade for Jade, also an old standard, which I heard, speaking of New Orleans, Louis Armstrong do, called You Go to My Head, but we do it quite different than that. And some of the original compositions are the name of the record, A Gift for You, which is actually a song that was recorded by Kenny Burrell a few years ago. And other compositions called The Move, which is something else that was pre-recorded. It was recorded on a Blue Note record called, I forget the name of the record now, but it's a record that featured Roy Hargrove and featured Roy Hargrove and Danny Gadden. Also a ton of other people as well who I can't name right now.
Yoron Israel, it's a pleasure to meet you here in the Crescent City,
Great.
The very center of jazz and all of the streams of world music, Afro and Cuban, and all of the wonderful pioneers who are symbolic here. And we'll salute Sidney Bechet in memory, the King of Paris.
That's right. Yeah, and it's, like I said, it's always a pleasure to see you. I seem to run into you and a lot of times in the Minnesota area, so it's a pleasure to run into you out here, and thanks again for interviewing me. Appreciate it.
Yoron Israel, pleasure to see you again. Keep the muse alive.
Definitely. No, I have no other choice about it now. Okay.
Next up, we're off stage at the Jazz Tent, and a tremendous array of brass. It looks like it's going to be influences of marching bands and tuba demonstrations and all the bass horns, and it's going to be wild.
It is. How often do you see 5 or 6 tubas on the same stage together? That's going to be pretty interesting. Howard Johnson. Yeah.